think, like for example, for those who are still in high school, who don't know yet what they want to do with your life, what do you think made you figure out earlier what you really wanted to do? Because there are times when you don't really know it yet, even though you're already a
Yeah.
college graduate and you're not sure yet that is this really what you want to do. So what advice can you give?
Right. Yes, that's pretty interesting. And I'm very introspective and I think about this a lot in my head too. Um, and I think what it really comes down to for me is that very early on, I knew what I didn't want to do. And I think that was very important. So I knew very early that I didn't want to have a job. I really didn't enjoy I didn't really enjoy school. So that's one of the things that I knew very early on. So I
Yeah,
never
me
did.
me
And
too. I don't really
yeah,
enjoy formal. I didn't enjoy formal education, but I love to learn. But
yeah.
I prefer learning about the things that I like to do, and I prefer to do it like through short courses, like crash courses, seminars, compared to formal education where you really have to just sit down and listen to the teacher. Yeah, sorry. So
Right,
what you were
exactly.
saying, you were saying.
No. That's exactly it. No, we're exactly alike because learning is completely different from schooling, right? The schooling, you're doing it in a certain way where you're getting certain information that you don't have control over. But learning it's different because it's stuff that you're absorbing more information, but you have control over how you're doing it and what the information is. So that's a big key difference that I think a lot of people need to realize is that you cannot mistake schooling for learning. Like, and in fact, I think schooling hinders learning if that makes sense at all because so many people who graduate from school, they never learn anything after that, which is it's very sad to think that people just stop their absorption of knowledge at what's like age 22, 24, and then they just don't learn anything new from it because they're so tired from the school system.
After graduating
Right.
college, it's like I'm not gonna learn anything new. I was so tired from the past 20 years that I was in school. But yeah, you know what kept my love for learning going was not really school, but it was my love for reading because my grandmother and my mother, they both love to read, and so I got that from them at an early age. So even though school was boring for me, when I would get home, I would read like storybooks or different kinds of books, fiction, and then eventually in high school I would read nonfiction. And that was what kept my love for learning alive. So, thank God for books, right? Because if there weren't interesting books that was able to read back then, I don't think I would have kept my love for learning alive. And now there are so many avenues that we can learn, right? Like through podcasts, YouTube. So now I consume content through audio and video format.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's so different now, right? And especially, I think the schooling system is kind of very limiting as well. Is that they only learn from like one medium, just people talking to you. But some people learn a lot better from like reading different materials, like yourself. And now with the amount of information that we have, I think people can learn, anything that they want to, on their own. So it's not really based on like in the past where success was based on the amount of education you had, whatever degree you had. I think now it's just personal initiative, right? Who wants it more? Because all the information is out there. So I think it was somebody was telling me on the other day that you can actually find an uh, entire degrees worth of information, entire Yale's degrees worth of information online, the entire curriculum, you can find it online, which is insane. So like you can find that information. It's just now up to you whether or not you're willing to put in the time to do it or not. So I think that's the big piece. You can't really bypass that part. Is the personal initiative.
Yeah, that's right. I read somewhere also like if you just listen to an audiobook 30 minutes to an hour daily, because we commute a lot. Like for example, me, whenever I go out to meet clients, I commute around between 30 minutes to an hour every day. So if I spent that time watching or listening to an audiobook, I would have like a PhD in 4 to 5 years time. So isn't that amazing? Like the time you spent in
Yeah.
your car won't be wasted because you would be doing something productive.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one of the coolest things that we have right now. It's just access to information. Like you said, now we can literally we call it drive time university, right? You can have a PhD degree just from listening to information on your audiobooks. And I encourage everybody to kind of use that time wisely. Whatever time that you have, in the past you might be listening to music, and music's great, but if you want to build a life that you really want to live, maybe sacrifice that and then spend that time learning the stuff that you need to be learning, right? That's where the personal initiative and the discipline comes in. And so, for me, like, I only listen to tapes that I think are going to help me out. So I listen to a lot of Napoleon Hill, personal development, whether if I'm, working out on a run or, in the car driving as well. So I don't even listen to anything else. It's the same tape from Napoleon Hill that I listen to the entire time. So there's a little secret about me, but no, I think, just definitely maximize that time, because a lot of people will say they don't have enough time, but I just think they're not looking hard enough, to be honest, in their day to fit in the stuff that they really want to do. Because if you really want to do something, you will find ways to do it. Your mind will find ways to do it in subconsciously or consciously, just to fill in that time throughout your day.
Yes, yes, I agree. It's not about not having time to do it. Rather, it's not your priority. Because if it's important to
Right.
you, you will find the time to do it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're all in control of our time in our lives, so it's not much time management versus like priority management. So
Yes, priority
somebody
management.
said, right. So somebody says they don't have enough time. What they're really saying is that they have something else in their life that they believe is more important at the moment, which is okay. But you just have to be honest with yourself at that point.